Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Dawn of the Bread. Now in today's video I'm going to share with you my personal recipe for French brioche. Now this bread it's sweet, it's buttery, it melts in your mouth and it tears apart like silk. So for the recipe we're going to need 500 grams of strong white bread flour, 170 grams of cold milk, 3 large eggs with 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 200 grams of cold unsalted butter, 80 grams of caster sugar. Now I've divided it into 2 parts because in here is the 10 grams of dry active yeast. I've added 20 grams of sugar into that and the remaining 60 into here. 8 grams of salt. Now that's all the ingredients, and the most important thing is to have all your ingredients cold. I've had the milk, the eggs, the butter all chilling away in the fridge and ready to go. So the first thing we're going to want to do is take our milk, pour in our 20 grams of sugar and yeast, and we're not so much activating as we are, take your spoon, give it a little stir up, hydrating. We are hydrating the yeast just to give it a little bit of a head start. So we'll let that sit by just for a minute while we prepare the rest. Spatula at the ready as well. I've got this little guy just to scrape down the jug as we move on. Now take your 500 grams of flour and me being a complete pleb, I will be doing this recipe in my KitchenAid stand mixer. You could use any stand mixer, but I do highly recommend it because the hydration is quite high. Now where with the eggs and the milk, the hydration does go to 64%, but you've got to account for the water in the butter itself. So you're probably talking 68-70% with all the butter involved. So 500 grams of bread flour straight into the mixing bowl, followed by the 60 grams of the remaining sugar straight into the flour. After that, add your 8 grams of salt and use the spatula and mix all those ingredients through just like so. Now we're not going to be adding everything into the dough to begin with. We're going to leave the butter to one side. See, the butter will inhibit and slow down the gluten development. So what I like to do is I'll add the milk, the eggs in first with everything else, and we'll knead the dough for 5 minutes initially just to build up that gluten structure. Now, from here, take your milk with the yeast and the sugar. As you can see, it's starting to bubble up already. And pour that straight in. Don't forget to scrape down the bowl or jug, whatever you're using. Every little bit of ingredient is important. Apologise for that background noise, that's my washing machine ticking away. There we go. Just clear some space. Move those out of the way. Now followed by the 3 eggs and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract straight in. Happy days. Move that out of the way too. Now you're going to want to get your stand mixer. This is my baby right here. On she pops. Now start it on slow until the dough picks up from the bowl, and I'll be back in a second. And then when it gets to the point where it's picking up from the bowl, you want to set your timer for 5 minutes. This initial knead will build up that gluten development, and then we can start adding the cold butter. I'll speed this up a bit for you. Back in a moment. And I hope you enjoyed that quick little speed up. 5 minutes went by and within like 10 seconds flat. Now it's at this point, see, we have built up a little bit of gluten development, not a crazy amount, but enough to get the ball rolling, so to speak. So I'm going to scrape down this hook, move it to the bottom of the bowl, and then what we're going to do from here is we're going to slowly add the butter into the dough. Now it could take anywhere from 10 minutes, 15 minutes, depending on the ambient temperature, humidity. It does play a big part in your dough, but we want to knead this until the dough pulls away cleanly from the bowl. Now we're going to add the butter in a little bit at a time as it goes, and I'll start doing that with you now. So start it on slow to begin with. I'm going to start chucking the cold cube butter straight in. Don't worry if you think you're doing it too quick, it'll come together. And you want to add it in like so. Now, it's on setting 1 currently. What I'll do is I'll bump it up to 2, and then I'll bump it right up to 4, which is the middle speed of my mixer, which tends to be the highest I like to go for these sort of breads. Because you really want to build up that gluten development. You want it super stretchy, elastic. Now yeah, this does seem like a lot of butter. My recipe is 40% butter. There's 200 grams, 500 grams is 40%. Which is what I'm using in my recipe. Scraper, push all the butter in. Now we're going to want to let that tick away. I will start my timer so you can see in real time how long it takes for it to come together, the butter to fully combine into the dough and pull away. So I'll be back in a moment. And after 10 minutes, 33 seconds, the dough's done, ready to be tipped out onto the counter. Now that is, oh my god, that is elastic, look at that. Beautiful dough. So what we want to do is take the dough off of the hook. Just like so. Move this out of the way now. We are finished with the stand mixer. And I'll show you what I mean by the gluten structure and the elasticity of the dough. It's it's something pretty special. So take your bench scraper and work your dough out onto the countertop. Just like that. Now, this recipe, I do highly recommend doing this in a stand mixer. It's going to be incredibly hard to do by hand just because of how wet the dough is initially, because of the higher hydration. So, but if you do want me to put together a recipe that you can do by hand, please let me know. Because honestly, I'll be more than happy to help. But yeah, so you can tell when the dough is ready too, because look, it's not sticking to the side. See, it's a higher hydration, but you can pick it up, you can move it around. It's not going anywhere. Yes, I'm wearing gloves, but hygiene and all that. Anyway, but yeah, this is the elasticity of the dough. See, I can pick it up, I can stretch it out to the point where I can see my gloves actually coming through. I love that. Let me zoom in for you. There you go. Look at that. Perfectly kneaded. super strong, super elastic. And that's because we took our time now. And also, I can't stress enough the importance of your ingredients being cold. If you have warm ingredients, when it comes to doing something like this, your dough will be sloppy, like almost soup-like. And you don't want that nastiness. Definitely not. Finish it off with the bench scraper. Work the dough around like so. Now, we're going to want to take a bowl. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to the bowl, just to help stop the dough from sticking so much. Take the olive oil, rub it around the bowl. You can use vegetable oil if you've got that at hand. I just used olive oil because it was the closest thing to me. Work that around the bowl. Take your dough, rest him in, and cover him up. Now you're going to want to prove this, which, well, proving means to let the dough rise and develop, let the yeast ferment. We're going to do it initially for an hour at room temperature, and then after an hour we're going to take it out the bowl, degas it, which is knock the air out, reshape it into the ball, pop it back into the bowl, and then this will go in the fridge for a minimum of say 12 hours. But I'm what time of day is it? It's currently 20 to 4, but I'll be leaving this in overnight until tomorrow. But you can leave it up to 2 days in the fridge, and it'll be absolutely fine. And to be honest, the longer you leave it, the better the flavour. And the fact that the dough is going to be cold, it'll make it so easy to shape tomorrow before baking. Now tomorrow we're going to be making with this dough some chocolate buns, as well as a braided loaf. So yeah, 1 hour at room temperature, knock out the air, put it back in the fridge, a minimum of 12 hours. And I'll see you tomorrow. It's the next day and we are back. The dough itself has been in the fridge overnight, and as you can tell, it has risen beautifully. It's lovely and firm. Originally this dough was quite relaxed, very stretchy, not firm at all, and overnight in the fridge has firmed this dough up, so it's going to be relatively easy to handle. Now today, with this French brioche, we're going to make 6 chocolate buns, and we're also going to make a braided loaf, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing we need to do, remove the cap and the dough. As you can tell, it's risen very nicely overnight. Should put it away from the bowl. Look at that. See, every little bit's important, so scrape that bowl down. Get all the dough. Put your bowl on the scales. Now we need to weigh this dough. Lovely. Turn the scale on, see how much this weighs. The dough weight is 1,113 grams. 1,113 grams. Now what we want to do is share that by 2. It's going to cut it in half initially, which is 556 grams. 556. That can go to one side. Maybe the same. Maybe 557. I'll take it. And this one can be for the actual loaf itself. That one is 506, yep. Clear the calculator, 556. I want to share that into 6 rolls at 92 grams each. $92. And there's the last one at 96. So we'll take a little bit off. That's 92. And this last little nub of dough will get added to the braided loaf dough. Now this is what you need to get started. So what we're going to do first is shape it into a rough ball. So take the dough like so. Cup in your hands like this, go around and around, massage the dough round into a ball. Just roughly. And what I like to do, take your fingers, press the dough down and form a bowl. If you want to, you can add flour, but I'm not going to for the purpose of the video. Chocolate chips. Straight in to the centre. And then it's just a case of pressing those chocolate chips in and pinching the sides in. Just like this. See? So pinch and stretch while moving the dough ball around. Until you end up with this. One chocolate filled dough ball. Okay, and now that is the 6 chocolate filled brioche buns done. I know they look rough and ready, but trust me, they're going to be absolutely delicious. And then we're going to move on to the braided loaf. The first thing I'm going to do, take our loaf pan. I'm using this. The loaf won't get that tall, but this is just to pop it into so it holds its shape. Where's my spray? There you go. I'm going to use a little bit of this Carelex baking spray. It's a releasing agent. Originally I bought it for my cake tins, but it works absolutely brilliantly for loaf pans as well. Just a quick spray of that and that's done. Put this to one side. Now, this dough here, I'm going to weigh it. $562. 62 grams. We're going to share it by 3. 187. That's probably too much. Oh no, 187 on the button. Happy days. Now we are done with the bowl and the scales. For this braided loaf, I will be dusting a small bit of flour on the countertop. Just help me along. Dust a little bit of flour, bread flour on the counter. What I'm going to do, take these doughs, I'm going to put them to a ball and then roll them like this with my fingers just to get that sausage going, see? And then pop it down. Just a bit of flour like this. Now you're going to want to take your hands, roll the dough back and forth and work it out with your fingers. Start in the middle and work your way out. Just like that. I want to get this relatively thin because we're going to do a beautiful braid. Now, depending on how thin you want your braid, depends on how thin you're going to want to do this rope. But that looks perfect to me. So I'm going to leave mine right there, and then we're going to move on to the next one. So what I like to do is orientate my doughs like so. Corner, edge, middle, left, right. Just like that. And then I'll take the top pieces and I'll pinch them together to form one. And then here, it's basically a basic braid. So take your left one, bring it over the middle. Take the right one, bring it over the middle. Same again, left over the middle, right over the middle, left over the middle, right over the middle, and then repeat until you reach the end. And then from here, I'm going to pinch the ends together like so, pinch the ends together like so. Now what I like to do from here is roll the back side under ever so slightly, and then roll it under like this, so you end up with a braided sausage. Pick up your dough and lay it into your tin. Now that's ready to go. So from here, take your shower cap or your covering and pop them over. Now we're going to want to let that rise with these. I'm just going to put a little bit of flour over the top to stop the tea towel from sticking to them. We will be giving them an egg wash before we bake them. Towel drape over the top. And now you're going to want to set your timer from, I think the last time I made them, because the dough balls are quite cold, about an hour and a half. Yeah, about an hour and a half would be perfect. Because the dough's cold, it's going to take a little bit longer to rise, so set your timer for an hour, come and check on it. Depending on the room, depending on the ambient temperature of your kitchen or whichever room you're doing this in. But I'm going to set my timer for 90 minutes, 1 hour and 30 minutes. And then at that point, I'm going to preheat my oven. So I'll be back then. And we're going to want to bake these at 170 degrees Celsius. I'm going to set my oven to 150 because my oven is a fan oven and it runs 20 degrees hotter than indicated. So yeah, after the 90 minutes, I'm going to preheat my oven, and then when the oven comes up to temperature, I'll be back. We're going to egg wash these chocolate buns, and we're going to egg wash and sprinkle some sesame seeds on this braided loaf. I'll be back soon. See you in 90 minutes. An hour and a half has gone by, and my oven has preheated. As soon as my hour and a half timer went off, I preheated the oven to 170 degrees Celsius, and we're going to get started with the glaze before we bake them. First thing I'm going to do, take the lid off of this. As you can see, they've risen quite nicely. They are rough and ready, and we're going to give them a gentle egg wash just to glaze the tops. Now these will rise considerably as they bake as well. Now egg wash, my egg wash is 1 egg, dash of milk, and I beat it until it's super loose and runny. Okay, that's the rolls done and glazed. And now we can move on to the loaf. As I said, the loaf won't fill the pan, but it will rise considerably while it's baking as well. So what I'm going to do with this, now this is a 1 pound Pullman tin. It's rated for 450 grams of dough, which is ideal for what we need. So we'll give the top of the braided loaf a nice coat of the old egg wash. Beautiful. Pop that little bubble that popped up just then. There we go. And on the top of the loaf, I've got my sesame seeds here. I'm just going to sprinkle over the top. So I love sesame seeds on bread, honestly. It gives such a nutty flavour. Absolutely love it. There you go. Thoroughly coated. Now I'm going to pop these in the oven at 170 degrees Celsius for 25 minutes. Now the buns themselves probably only need about 20 minutes, but I'm probably going to give it the full 25 because I like the egg wash to get nice and dark, a nice golden dark brown. So I'll see you in a moment when they're out the oven. And just like that, your French brioche is done. Now, as you can tell, they come out beautiful. That glaze gives it a lovely colour. It's going to be soft, light, and honestly, it's like picking up air. They are so light, it's incredible. Anyway, so you've got 6 chocolate filled French brioche buns here, and then on the left is this braided, simple braid French brioche loaf. So light, so airy. Now I'm going to wait for this to cool down. The braided loaf, ideally you want it to be completely cool before slicing, but these chocolate filled buns, give it half hour, 45 minutes. They'll be a little bit warm, but you can rip one open, and trust me when I say you won't be disappointed. Now to end this video, I'm going to be showing you me tearing one of these open, so enjoy. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. This has been Dawn of the Bread, and I'll see you in the next video.